Ladies and gentlemen, brothers, sisters, comrades, friends, people I don't like. It's been in politics. It's your boy. My man Mehdi Hassan, journalist. He has a new company called Detail. They do great journalism. Um, that I believe that they're growing. He aside from that, he does countless debates, speaking arrangements, engagements. He's just a phenomenal, amazing warrior and pillar for the progressive movement. Um, I strongly suggest everybody go check his stuff out. He did a interview with some British fellows um, talking about American politics. We're gonna check out the video.
British at the time of recording, anyway. Obviously, in the UK, British people they may be aware, and listeners will be aware as to what has been going on a vague level. Can you give us a sense of what it has been like in the United States and United States cities, including Washington, D.C., where you are, in terms of the militarization that has taken place over the course of the first year of the Trump administration?
Yeah, so it's been astonishingly fast, Lewis. So to go back to your opening question, I was one of those people who spent much of 2024 telling people, especially on the left, who were very upset, rightly so, with the Biden administration and the Democrats' complicity in the genocide in Gaza, and saying, Trump can't be that bad compared to these guys. We survived Trump once. And people like me were saying, no, Trump 2 is going to be much worse than Trump 1. Trump 2 is going to be Trump 1 on steroids. He's coming in looking for vengeance. He's talked about wanting to be a dictator. He's talked openly. He talked in the campaign about using the military against his opponents. None of what he did should have surprised us, but the speed at which he's done it and the little resistance that he's faced, Lewis, that has been really remarkable.
I agree. I'm not gonna lie. None of this surprised me, but how fast Trump has done it, all this stuff, yeah, 100%. I'm surprised by that.
I mean, I tell friends of mine who are not very political, don't follow the news, I'm like, there's 3 years left. And they're like, what? And they don't realize, because the first year has felt like 2 or 3 or 4 years. He's done this all in less than 12 months.
Yeah, he's aging
in terms of putting the National Guard on major American cities, in terms of expanding ICE. ICE is now better funded than most of the world's militaries. The expansion of ICE, the expansion of the powers of ICE, the deportation agenda. Just last night, the night before we're speaking, Lewis, the vice president went on Fox and said, we're going to go door to door to do deportations. I mean, where are we? Iran, China, Venezuela. This is America where, 20 years ago, Lewis, Republicans were obsessed with individual liberty. They were all about the government tyranny. We need to have the Second Amendment. We need guns because we can't have a tyrannical government. It was all about small government and don't tread on me. And now the Republican Party is creating an authoritarian, basically neo-fascist machinery in front of our eyes. In terms
You think
of
it
the
is
military.
you think it is neo-fascist?
They literally used to say all of that, and now they've turned into the group that is out there not only like arresting people and deporting people, they're doing it anonymously with no ID badge, masked up. Like it's crazy how hypocritical it ended up being. They became the thing that they consistently said that they were scared of.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I think the debate on fascism was over before he was elected. It's certainly over now. I actually texted a friend of mine last night, fellow journalist who argued with me for the last few years about is it or is it not fascism? And I was like, what's left to debate? The last piece of the puzzle was, well, he doesn't have domestic militias on the streets. Well, actually, he does now. ICE is basically a Trump-loyal paramilitary police force, men in masks, shooting not just brown and black immigrants, legal or illegal, quote unquote, but American citizens, as we saw with Rene Good in Minneapolis.
Yeah, I think there's this TikToker that talks about it a lot. I'm so sorry, I'm forgetting this kid's name, but he talks about the 14 steps to fascism. And I think America has hit like most. I think America met if not most of them. What is it? Powerful and continuing nationalism, disdain for the recognition of human rights, identification of enemies, scapegoats as a unifying cause, kind of like the media, supremacy of the military, something Trump truly believes in, rampant sexism, controlled mass media, obsession with national security, religion and government being intertwined. You've never seen that more than you've ever seen it today in 2025. Corporate power is protected. Not only that, they're the ones getting most of the welfare from the country. Labor power is suppressed. Disdain for the intellectuals and the arts. For some reason, I mean, Republicans, like weird ass libertarian Republicans, hate intellectuals and the arts and always want to shut down universities. It's just so weird how they hate education. Like, rich people want to keep you dumb. How is this hard? Obsession with crime and punishment. I mean, look at ICE, rampant cronyism and corruption and fraudulent elections. America meets all of those. I mean, maybe we, at least 13 of them.
They've been empowered. They behave as his Praetorian Guard. He doesn't care about the Constitution. He was told by a judge to pull National Guard out of LA and other cities. He said he's going back in. Doesn't matter what the judge says.
Yeah.
So he doesn't care about the Constitution or the
Fascism.
law, whether it's abroad with Venezuela or whether it's at home when it comes to dealing with immigrants and with U.S. citizens. We're in a very dark place right now. We're on every front. He is amassing and consolidating power. He is taking over different arms of government. I mean, even just on the kind of lighter note, dare I call it a lighter note, like he's slapping his name on everything, his face on everything. Come to Washington, D.C. It's no longer the Kennedy Center. It's the Trump Kennedy Center. Go to the Department of Labor.
Yeah, Trump's fragile-ass ego had to put his name on the Kennedy Center. I mean, geez, Lou, bro. Like, oh, my God.
Highest order. And again, that's another element of
Think I got
fascist
another one
authoritarian
here
societies.
before
The
we
government tells you not to believe
move on.
what you see with your own eyes. It's very 1984.
This discussion about, and since you mentioned it, I think it is worth sort of probing slightly. This discussion about the nature of the Trump administration and whether it's neo-fascist or not. There is, how do you deal with the critique that some people listening to this will be making right now as you're speaking, that this is something that liberals and liberal voices and Democrats and people on the left in Britain have been talking about for 10 years, perhaps arguably actually invoked those terms and those ideas rather too early, because now at this point, when I agree with you, I mean, I think that I've in the past been reluctant to use those terms and labels precisely because they're so easy to dismiss. But it does seem to me that in certain characteristics, at least now, as you describe, particularly with regards to sort of personal militias and all this cult of personality, there are far-right, fascistic elements, racist, fascistic elements that are undeniable. But people don't want to listen.
No, because, well, a couple of things. One is there is what's called the anti-Trump brigade, which is people who are conservatives who know Trump's bad, but they want to focus their ire on liberals. So they become obsessed with policing what liberals and the left say about Trump. That has been with us for years. If you criticize...
We see most of those people on, like, Facebook. The people that can't give up the Trump shit. You know what I mean? That every single thing that happens is a liberal's fault. It's so weird.
Besides Trump, you've got Trump derangement syndrome,
TDS.
TDS. This nonsense, it's an evasion to avoid what's happening in front of our eyes. As for using it too early, I can only speak for myself. I used the F word for the first time on MSNBC in August of 2020 when the Portland protests were going on and people in unmarked cars were jumping out, grabbing protesters and bundling them into cars.
Yeah.
That was an early scene of what we've been seeing.
Yeah, those green shirt dudes that would show up in minivans and snatch people off the street. In 2020, that was fucking nuts, and now we have that on steroids.
Seeing over the last 12 months on steroids. Robert Paxton, perhaps the preeminent American historian of fascism, said from 2016 to 2020, he said, no, he's not a fascist. And then on January the 7th, 2021, the day after the insurrection, he goes, actually, he's a fascist, right? That was the preeminent scholar of fascism who'd resisted using the F word.
Yeah.
In fact, Lewis, we just marked the 5th anniversary.
And I think him and like a bunch of other people left. Like 6 professors who studied fascism all left the country.
Of the January 6th insurrection, a fascist insurrection. And what did the White House do? They did what every fascist regime in history has done. They decided to rewrite history. They put up a page on the White House website, completely rewriting the whole thing, saying the police started the violence.
Yeah.
There were only peaceful protesters. It was all the fault of the Democrats. a classic neo-fascist move about what was a fascist insurrection. So
Yeah, we got. Yeah, it says from the White House. This is whitehouse.gov. It's literally fucking insane. President Trump took decisive action to pardon January 6 six defendants who were unfairly targeted, overcharged, and used as political examples. They were not protected by the leaders who failed them. They were punished to cover incompetence. On his first day back in office, on Yo. On his first day back in office, President Trump issued sweeping blanket pardons and communications for nearly 1,600 patriotic Americans prosecuted for their presence at the Capitol. Many mere trespassers and peaceful protesters treated as insurrectionists, by weaponized Biden DOJ. He finally pardoned most commuted sentences and ordered immediate release of those still in prison, ending years of harsh solitary confinement, denied due process, and family separation for exercising their First Amendment rights. These motherfuckers beat the shit out of cops and tried to hang the vice president. That's what they would have done if they would have gotten through. Thousands of Americans paid the price for political failures they did not create. Since January 6, 2021, Nancy Pelosi spent over 3 years nearly blah, 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 in taxpayer funds or whatever. It's infuriating because I remember watching it that morning with my wife, and I couldn't believe what I was looking at. You know, it was not only enraging and terrifying, but it was sad because you saw democracy. This is the beginning of it falling apart because a bunch of crybaby ass sad incels aren't getting their way because their baby god president didn't win an election that he felt the need to win. Like their whiteness wouldn't allow it. Their egos that attached to their privilege just couldn't allow for that to happen. That they stormed the Capitol, and they still think that they're justified in doing it. It's wild, bro. Like, it's really wild.
I say to people, look, if you don't want to call it fascist, don't call it fascist. Call it authoritarian. Call it whatever you want to call it. But right now, you have a president who is lawless, who is operating an agency which is rogue, ICE, which have detained American citizens, killed American citizens, deported American citizen children, which are consolidating their power over the media. They now have his billionaire friends, just as in Turkey, just as in Hungary, just as in India. Same model. Trump's billionaire friends is buying up parts of the free press and making sure that news anchors are saying, as one did this week, we salute you, Marco Rubio. This kind of stuff you see in North Korea. This is what we're seeing right now here in the US. I know it's hard for people abroad to understand this,
yes,
but this is what's happening. And it's hard for Americans because Americans have always believed that it could.
Look at this. Yes.
In North Korea. This is what we're seeing right now here in the US. I know it's hard for people abroad to understand this,
yes,
but this.
Yo, bro, they like people like, and this is another thing that I don't understand how my Republican brothers and sisters don't get it. You know, like our allies are not fucking with us. We don't fuck like first of all, people who your neighbors are telling you this is wrong. Our allies in other European countries are telling you this is wrong. We have no friends because we want to create this isolationist mindset. And we're also doing things like kidnapping the president of other countries that are making our adversaries go, oh, okay, so we could get crazy now, right? We can start taking Taiwan then, right? Ukraine should
This
be
is what's
cool.
happening. And it's hard for Americans because Americans have always believed that it couldn't happen here. Fascism is something that happens in tin pot.
No, like, let's stop that. right now. Y'all thought that. Black people in America, foundational Black Americans, American descendants of slave folks, whatever you want to call it, we always knew this shit was possible. I also assure you that people in Polynesia and Native American indigenous people to America, they also knew that shit. We there was no confusion that this could happen. Not to us.
Hot countries in Eastern Europe and in the Middle East. It can't happen in America. It can happen. It is happening.
I think that point about the media is obviously central. And again,
So on that note, we just gonna let it go. Shout out to Mehdi Hassan. He's always doing amazing work and bringing light to perspectives that are always extremely useful. And I'm grateful to that he's on our side doing the things that he's doing. Go check out Zateo. I think that's his media outlet. Again, appreciate you. I love you. May the good Lord bless your bones, as the old folks used to say. And we'll be back with another video.
And if I blow,
Peace.
niggas know it's been corrosive. Strutting down this muddy road, made more friends than foes. Did so many shows, said yes to a lot of them. Few weeks later, I don't hear peep out of them. You gotta stay focused on goals, don't ever switch up. Keep applying pressure while these other artists hiccup. Drift up from the socks to the cloth, that's on my head top. Trying to stay close to my people like I'm the red body. Think that I'm Jedi mind tricking. It's just me, it's hard for y'all to understand the world just in love with